Hi, and welcome to the Greater Truth of a Woman podcast. Today I am joined by the lovely Amanda Brown. Amanda is an author, and Amanda today is going to share her truth with us, but she's also a holistic practitioner as well. I'm really pleased to have you on, Amanda. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely to have you. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Okay, do you want me to go into the backstory of...
No, just tell us a little bit about what you do in your work.
Okay, so as you had mentioned, I am a holistic therapist, but primarily what I do is I'm focused more on creating a safe space for my clients. And that has kind of been born out of my own lived experience. So I bring my lived experience into my practices. So, within the holistic therapies, it's massage, reflexology, Reiki, lymphatic drainage. So there's a big mixture of body work and also energy work within what I do, but it is primarily about helping people feel safe. And, also I found with myself as well that there was a disconnect from my body throughout the experiences that I had. So it's about creating safe touch for people as well and helping people come back to their own bodies.
Yeah. Lovely. I love the fact that you do lymphatic drainage as well. I've never had it. Would really, really love to have it. So I'll maybe do that.
Come and see me.
Come see. So you're saying it's basically you want to create a safe space through your lived experience. I created my studio through a lived experience because I was attacked by a guy that went to the same gym as me. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your story?
Well, yeah, okay. So growing up, I grew up in a household that there was very severe domestic violence. But that, that was being towards, my mother, and witnessing her being quite severely assaulted by her partner in a place that was supposed to be safe for her. I work out of my home as well, just, for that. So it's a little haven. But in addition to witnessing that domestic abuse and experiencing that, I was also sexually abused, which created a lot of challenges for me growing up and as I got into adulthood, and particularly around feeling safe and connected within my body, choosing safe partners as well. It wasn't something that came easily because I didn't have that demonstration of what a loving relationship looked like.
Yeah.
So it's because of those things and the impacts of that abuse and the impacts of the domestic violence that I witnessed and grew up in that has led me down to this path of creating this safe space.
Yeah.
Primarily for women, but I do have a safe space for men too.
Yeah, that's lovely. So going back to, were you a child when you were sexually abused?
I was, yes. It started whenever I was around the age of 7.
Wow, that's horrendous. I grew up in a household. I stayed with my grandparents a lot because my both parents worked, but my uncle was very violent and he used to beat the crap. So I know what seeing that is like as a child, although I didn't experience sexual assault as a child, Amanda. And at that age, you don't even know what sex is. So, I mean, did you come forward when you were a child, or?
I didn't. No, I really wanted to. I never doubted that my mum would have believed me. I never doubted that. He was my stepdad.
Wow.
So he was. So I was born in Belfast here, and around the age of 4, my mum and dad separated, and my mum then met my stepdad. So she met him, and we moved 50 miles away. So we were removed from her family.
Right.
Her support group, which I now can see and understand that it's a tactic.
Yeah.
So we were living there. It didn't take him long before he became very physically abusive towards my mum.
Wow.
It happened very quickly. And whenever I was very young, so around the ages of 4 and 5, I didn't actually witness him hitting her, but I could hear the shouting, I could feel the tension in the house. I started adjusting my behaviour, through fear of triggering him and setting him off, because I knew my mum would get a beating.
Yeah.
I used to see her with her face really badly bruised, and he's broken her nose and he's threatened to kill her, and it was very traumatic, that in itself, for her and us as children. The actual sexual abuse, I'm not clear on what age it was that it started. Specifically, but I have the first clear memory that I was able to piece together, for the purposes of the court case and the police. I was around the ages of 7. I believe that it started before then, but as I say, it's that, whenever you go through that kind of trauma, everybody reacts and responds differently to it. But for me, it very much felt like it was like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
And I had these multiple jigsaw puzzles that were all muddled, and I had to try and fit them together, at the point of time that I was going to the police. I was 29 when I went to the police.
Wow.
And I held that, believing that I was the only person that was being abused. And it wasn't until I learned that I wasn't the only person that was being abused that I then went to the police. Because I was like, I have to stop him. I have to do my part to stop him. Now, there were 2 other brave women who spoke out before I did and went through a court case, and they didn't get a successful outcome to their court case. And even throughout that, I was frightened of speaking to the police because of how violent he was, and that fear that he would kill my mother. Like, he had threatened to burn the house down with my sisters in it. And I had that fear in the back of my mind, and I believed that he was capable of that after witnessing what I did as a child.
Yeah, the abuse. That is absolutely shocking. How long did he live in your household?
Right up until 27. I was 27 right up until then. And see, even then, at that case, these other 2 brave women that came forward and spoke about what had happened to them, and they went to the police, and social services came in and had said to my mum, now, I wasn't living at home at that point.
Yeah.
I had moved out maybe a year or 2 before. But social services arrived at the house. My mum reported it to the police after being confronted initially. So my mum reported it to the police. Social services were obviously involved. Social services came in to the home and said to my mum, you have to put him out of the house or we are going to take your children from you. That's the options they gave her. A woman who was living with a severely abusive, violent man, and they expected her to confront him. And in all fairness to her, she did it. She sent the kids, my younger sisters, over to me to stay in my house while she confronted him.
Wow. That is very scary, even just to hear. And they didn't offer no protection or anything like that.
Nope.
That is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. There has to be something in place to protect children, and that's not really protection, is it? So it's not. Was your mum up until that age, was your mum aware what had happened, or did you hide that from your mum?
I hid that from my mum.
Oh.
And like, as I say, I hid it because growing up, my mum had quite severe mental health issues as well. Now, what he had told me during the times that I was being abused was that if I told anybody that my younger sisters, now the first time it had happened, I had a baby sister. She would only have been about 2 at the time that I was first abused, and he had told me that if I told anybody that he would go to jail, and that my brother and I would end up in separate care homes, and that my mum and my baby sister would end up in the street begging for food because he was the only person working and bringing money into the house. He wouldn't let my mum work.
Yeah.
And that's what he told me. And that's what kept me silent, thinking that I was protecting my family.
Oh, wow. But that does happen a lot. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast with Stacey, and her dad restricted her from going to school, basically so that she couldn't speak out. And it's it's scary to think that this does happen, but unfortunately, I'm sure you know the statistics in Northern Ireland, and they're extremely high. You are the fourth woman, your stepdad, but it's also your baby sister's real dad. You know, how could he do that to you?
Yeah.
That is absolutely. So did you get him convicted then? Was your case successful?
It was, yes. It was. We did get him convicted. And he put in an appeal. So he did, which we weren't aware of. And his appeal was heard when he sat through the appeal. It was heard weeks before he was actually due for release anyway.
Right.
Which I think was a tactic.
Yeah.
You know, maybe on the part of his legal team or whatever. But I don't think that he should have been allowed. The system should not have allowed him to have his appeal heard 4 years after he was sentenced.
And how long did he get?
4 years.
That was it?
4 years, 8 years, but 4 years prison sentence.
That's disgusting. That is not long enough, because he stole your childhood, and he obviously abused your mum quite a bit. And did he touch your sister or anything?
I have 4 younger sisters, and yes.
Oh my God.
For a long time, I thought I was the only one. As I say, up until I was 27, when these other 2 women came forward, I thought I was the only one. I watched my sisters like a hawk, believing that I would have been able to see if he was abusing them, because I thought I could look out for the signs in them.
Yeah.
You know, so I completely understand and fully believe any woman who will say, I did not know this was happening in my home.
Yeah.
It was happening in my home to my younger sisters, and I knew it was happening to me.
But you didn't.
And I was watching them, and I believe, you know, they hid it just as well as I did. But I thought that I would have been able to pick up just in some wee, you know, micro body language, whatever, but I didn't pick it up. Whenever I was around the age of 11ish, pardon me, I asked, could I have my name changed to his surname? Because I believed that the only reason why he was abusing me is because he didn't see me as his own daughter.
Oh, Amanda.
And went through the process of changing my name by deed poll to his surname, thinking that it would stop. And it didn't.
Oh my goodness. That's really, really, really hard. How, as you grew into a teenager, did this continue then until you were in your 20s?
The abuse didn't continue until I was in my 20s. The abuse stopped whenever I moved. My brother left the house whenever I was around the age of about 15, 16. And he moved out, so I moved into his bedroom, and his bedroom was directly opposite my mum and his bedroom. So it wasn't as easy for him to get to me then.
Yeah.
So that's when it stopped for me.
Wow. I think it's fair to say that you had your childhood stolen from you, which is awful. And I don't know how we're never going to understand a predator. But it's crazy. It's crazy to believe that a man would do this to his whole family. Really, really, really scary. So when you started dating, how did you find it dating? So the reason I'm asking about dating is because I know that it can be a familiarity. Women tend to date toxic men. So how did you feel about dating, or?
I didn't. I was okay with dating. I didn't have any, you know, I didn't have any sort of like, oh, stay away from men, all men are scary. You know, I didn't have that. I get into relationships that would have been toxic, and while I can accept where some of their actions and behaviours towards me would have been toxic, I was also toxic because I was so unhealed, I was so broken.
Yeah.
Do you know, I chose people that I certainly wouldn't choose for myself now.
Yeah.
You know, to put it that way, you know, there's an element of your own self-worth, and, you know, when you're younger and going through relationships as well, you do attract these people who are not safe.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not safe for your nervous system, whether they're not safe physically, they're, you know, they're not safe emotionally or mentally either.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much about them not being safe physically, although I have experienced situations where I have been very frightened of past partners, or there has been some physical abuse that has occurred, but I was never frightened of them and the physical abuse because of what I witnessed.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I can remember saying, well, sure, he's not beating me every weekend, so it's okay.
Wow. That's that in itself is just, it's mad to even think that you would be that way. But I've heard other women say exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Because they weren't doing it every week or whatever. So before you went to the police or anything, had you started your healing journey, would you say, or did you just stuff it all down?
I stuffed it all down. So I did. I really did stuff it all down and pretended like it didn't happen, and I was getting on as if everything was normal. Like, people used to think that I was a daddy's girl.
Wow.
And I think, you know, on reflection, looking back now, it's because he would have, in front of other people, given this impression, do you know, that he was just, do you know, that I was just his special little stepdaughter, and, do you know, not in that a creepy way, special little stepdaughter, but do you know what I mean?
What you mean.
He treated me the way he treated the rest of my sisters out in public, you know, and he came across as this really doting dad that gave everything to his daughters, you know, and he was so protective as well. This was something else that he used to say, you know, because he was a big rugby player, and we'd go out to the rugby games with him as well, and, you know the way people talk, and they're like, oh, your daughters are beautiful, you know, you'll have to watch them when they're older.
Yeah.
People say these things. You know, and I know they don't mean anything by it, you know, and he would have come across going, oh, well, wait till you see any man that comes through my door, any boy comes looking for her, he'll be booted down the street. You know, there'll be no man, you know, or no boy near them.
Yeah.
Because my daughters are so precious. Do you know, and that's the way I would have got on out in public.
Yeah.
And people thought I was a daddy's girl.
But that is displays of strong narcissism, and also the predator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The front, and then what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
That is, wow. So after you got him convicted, you obviously had to go to court. Were you protected when you were going to court? No,
that again was an absolute horrific experience. It was reported to the police till it went to court, it was in and around 4 years.
Wow.
So yes, and the wait times are still as long.
That's
so
awful.
They are, and that whole time, like, you're just in complete limbo.
Yeah.
And I was terrified. Do you know, and the longer it went on, the more frightened I got, to a point where I wouldn't even go into my local Asda. I had fear because of who he was and the connections he claimed to have, and where I lived at the time. I wouldn't go into my local Asda because I was frightened that somebody would follow me in and grab me. Do you know, I wouldn't go in on my own. I always made sure I had someone with me. And it was the anxiety even of just leaving the house.
Yeah.
I was just walking on eggshells completely all the time, looking over my shoulder, frightened of any time my door knocked.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's
how...
So I didn't have any relevant, like, protective... Do you know what? You can get a non-molestation order, and, you know, if there's domestic abuse, I didn't have anything like that. There was nothing there for me to protect me during that time, and I just felt so vulnerable.
Wow. I'm sure you did. And 4 years is a really, really long time. So it is to be going through something like that and living in fear, basically. Did when he was convicted, did it help? Did it help you spiraling into your healing journey?
That, whenever he went into jail, that gave me an element of safety that allowed me to come out of that whole survival mode slightly.
Yeah.
In order to be able to begin to face my healing.
Yeah.
Now, it would have been 15 years ago now. Is 15 to 16 years ago whenever I first reported it to the police. After I reported it to the police, and I have said this for me, it was like Pandora's box opening. So up to that point, everything was contained and everything was fine.
Yeah.
But then once it was said and once people knew, and when I say people, I mean my family and, you know, my partner, my then partner, it was like I couldn't put it back in again.
Yeah.
And it was just constantly there. So I was just overwhelmed with all of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with it. I ended up dropping very much into a deep depression. I was suicidal.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like I had suicidal ideation or I had thoughts of life not worth living. I was suicidal. I had a plan. And, you know, 3 days before I was due to carry out, you know, my death,
Yeah.
a family member died.
Wow.
And it was that, and seeing how my mum responded to that, I was like, I can't do that to her.
Yeah.
So I had to just face it. I took a complete breakdown and I just shut myself off, isolated myself, and there were days that I was seeing my days in hour by hour. It was a really tough time, and that from then up until he was imprisoned, I was just in survival mode.
Yeah. It's very raw and honest, and it's good for people to hear this as well, because it can be very taboo. I was in suicide awareness myself and went through quite a hard time, and it was kind of like when I started lifting the lid off things and started talking about things, that it sort of took me to those dark places. So I can understand where you're feeling in that respect, and it's not easy. And while it is a very selfish thing, it's also what you're faced with when you're struggling with your emotions, especially when emotions are suppressed. Did you get any help with counselling or anything like that?
At that time, no.
I
didn't go to a doctor. I was frightened of being signed in somewhere. So
Yeah.
I didn't go to a doctor. I just shut myself off. There was no medication. There was no support other than family.
Yeah.
But even at that, I shut them out. You know, I
Yeah.
closed myself off from them. And yeah, shut myself off from the world and just shut down and just tried to sit in the dark is
Yeah.
really what I had done.
You've a young son, don't you? Mm-hmm. What age is your son?
He's 7.
He's 7.
Yeah.
And you obviously didn't have your son back then.
No, I
No.
did not, no.
So tell us, I know I'm jumping a wee bit here a wee bit, but I know that recently you've shared on social media about your, you had quite a horrendous breakup as well.
Yeah.
If you're happy to.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm happy enough to share that. And, you know, just to set the marker here now, what I understood narcissism to be was what my stepdad was. That grandiose narcissism, that
Yep.
person who outside of the house was this big I am, but inside of the house was an absolute evil beast. But my healing journey from he left prison, and I believed that I was working on myself. My son's father and I separated when my son was about 4 months old, and I had been single up until my son was 3, and I met this guy, and he seemed to be everything. Do you know, he was just so lovely. I thought that if this relationship looked like, he said all the right things, he'd done all the right things. Do you know, if there was ever an issue, I would have spoken with him about it, and you know, he would have listened to me. I felt heard.
Yeah.
Do you know, when I thought this is a good man. I've got a good man here, and that's what I thought.
Yeah.
He would have ran me baths. He would have bought me flowers. He would have brought me home sweets and chocolates from the shop. And it wasn't in a love bombing way.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that. It was just here's a packet of jelly tots.
Yeah.
I was in the shop and I thought you'd like them. My favourite sweet. Do you know, so it wasn't in a grandiose way. He started off when we first met, he was talking to me about his own trauma, his own childhood, and he, you know, had told me that he had allegedly had quite a bad childhood. And I will say that I hate using the term allegedly as someone who is a victim of abuse, but we'll get to why I'm using that
Okay.
soon. So he just seemed to be so perfect.
Yeah.
Then my stepdad died, and he was there. Do you know, he was
Yeah.
there through all the publicity that was going on, you know, with that, and he was there supporting me. I felt supported. He was there obviously whenever I was writing the book as well, and he was there throughout all the publicity that there was around the book. Like, he came down to Dublin with me to go on the Late Late Show, and he came to the various podcasts that I'd done in relation to the publicity of the book, and he was just there, and he was a support, and he was there, and I leaned on him, and I felt safe.
Yeah.
And I never felt loved by him.
Okay.
Never felt loved by him, and I would bring this up to him, and he would say things to me like, I don't know what else I can do for you. Do you know, I tell you I love you, I do all these things for you, I don't know what more you want from me. So I started thinking that it was because of my childhood.
Yeah, that
it was because of my childhood that I wasn't capable of receiving love. So I just went with it. And I was just like, well, he's saying all the right things, and he's doing all the right things, and you see so many of these posts and memes and bits of information popping up on social media that words and actions have to align. His words and actions aligned. So I thought it was me.
Yeah.
It was just me. And there was always something happening. Like, I mean, I recognise now, and I can look back now, in that entire relationship, I was in survival mode during that entire relationship. Now, I recognised during the relationship that I was in survival mode. I recognised where I had anxiety. I recognised where I looked puffy. I didn't look well. I looked drained. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I didn't have the energy for me because I was supporting him through the things that he was going through. And I was also supporting my son and keeping the house going and keeping a business going. So there was always something happening that I was blaming. I was not looking at him at all. Looking outside at all of these things happening around me. And that was the reason why I was feeling the way I was feeling.
Yeah.
But as these things started to fall off, I started to become more clear. I started to reconnect with my body again. And I started to feel that something wasn't quite right in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I confronted him about it, you know, and I would say, right, okay, I'm going to go back to the fact that I don't feel loved by you, and I don't think that is me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's me. I think that there's something underlying here. I don't feel loved by you, and there's a reason for that. I do love you. I want to marry you. I want to build a life with you. I love your son. I'm so grateful for you. Anybody who knew me, he would tell them the same things. I love her so much. She is so special to me. She has helped me out so much. I'm so grateful for her. I love the wee family that we have together, even though he's not mine. I see him as mine. Would have said all these lovely, wonderful things to people who knew me and to me. But still, there was just something that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I started to notice things about him. I started to notice that he was on his phone an awful lot. That he would put his phone face down, that he would turn his phone away from me when we were sitting together, that he would never connect his phone to his car stereo. If it was connected, as soon as when I get into the car, he would disconnect it straight away. He would get up in the middle of the night with his phone and go downstairs. He would have had more frequent baths than he normally would. I was the person that had the once a week ritual bath. And, you know, he was then having 2 to 3 baths a night, or a week, sorry, not a night, 2 to 3 baths a week. And this was very unusual for him. So I started noticing changes in his behaviour.
Yeah.
And I raised that with him as well. And I'd said, all these changes in your behaviour and the stuff with the phone is not making me feel safe within this relationship. There's something else going on. And I confronted him again about it. This was on a Sunday in March this year. Confronted him again about it. And I was like, look, why don't we just go to Tullamore Forest, go for a dander. We'll talk about this. While we were on the drive there, I lost connection on my phone for GPS. So I had said to him, give us your phone and I'll just look it up on yours and, you know, we'll keep going. He lifted his phone while he was driving and he was working on his phone while he was driving. I was like, give me your phone. Just give me your phone and let me search the address.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I've got it. And then he set it down, but he set it down face up. And when I set it down face up, I noticed he had a privacy screen on it. And I had said to him, I then was like, why do you have a privacy screen on your phone? Like, what do you need a privacy screen on your phone for? It's not like I'm over your shoulder. And,
Yeah.
you know, I never was. I was never one for lifting his phone, wouldn't have looked over his shoulder. I just didn't get it. I was like, why do you have a privacy phone? And he had said, it's not a privacy screen, it's for blue light. And I went, that's not a blue light screen. I know the difference. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And so continued talking when we got to Tullamore, when we were walking around the forest, and I had said to him, look, I have known for a long time that you're hiding something from me. I have an idea of what it is, but I'm giving you the opportunity to tell me. And got the whole back again, no, I love you so much. I want to build a life with you. I want to marry you, you know.
Yeah.
Let's create this life together, you know. And he said things like that. And he had said, I'm not looking for anything outside of this relationship. You're everything that I need. And I was like, right, okay. So we left it. And the next day, brought it up again. He had been to counselling that day. So he had. And he came back and he told me that his counsellor told him that I needed to respect his privacy. And I was like, why? What? I don't understand. Respect your privacy. I said, I haven't asked you for anything.
Yeah.
I have asked you why you have a privacy screen in your phone and you've told me it's blue light. And he says, well, she told me that you needed to respect my privacy. And I was like, I don't think that your counsellor would have said this. And this is not an issue of respect and privacy. This is an issue of speaking the truth and you being honest. I said, I haven't asked to see anything. I haven't encroached in your privacy in any capacity. I have asked you to tell me the truth. And I'm asking you again, because if you don't tell me the truth, this relationship's going to end. Got the same spiel over again. Love you so much. Want to build a life with you. Want to marry you. You know, all that lovely stuff. And I went, right, okay. So I sat that night and I had been out of the way of meditating and all of that stuff. I had disconnected so much from that. So I sat that night and I meditated and I was like, right, universe, God, source, tell me. Show me the truth, because he's not going to give it to me. Show me. So the next morning I got up, brought my son to school. On the way back down from school again, I just started crying because I knew it was coming in. And I got in home and he was there and he seen that I was upset and he hugged me and he was like, I'm so sorry that you're feeling like this. I don't know what more I can do for you. I'm not hiding anything from you. I love you so much. You know, you're everything to me, all of those lovely things. And I was like, right, okay, whatever. Went into my wee room, got my tarot cards out and I pulled my spread for the year ahead, starting from the astrological new year. And I was very intrigued by what the love reading was telling me. And packed it all up, went and picked my son up off the bus, got him sorted. He was in the living room playing and building Lego with Voldemort, we call him now. My son calls him Voldemort because he doesn't want to mention his name.
Right.
So he was building Lego with him and this text message flashes up on my phone and it's like, I'm sorry, but I have something that I need to tell you about your partner. It's really difficult for me to say this, but if you want to hear it, ring me on.
Wow.
So as soon as I seen it, I knew exactly what it was. I knew anyway.
Yes, you knew deep down.
But do you know how you kind of, when you spend a lifetime of being gaslit,
yes,
you want the evidence. You want to see the proof. So yeah, very shaky hand I lifted and I rang the number and the woman on the other side of the phone talked to me about how he had engaged with her originally. So originally she had posted something online about healing from trauma and he jumped straight into her inbox offering to heal her.
Oh.
Yeah. And, you know, moving very quickly to flirty conversations to then sexually explicit conversations and sending photographs of himself. When that happened, she was like, delete and block. But while he was sending her the flirty messages, he invited her to my home for a one-to-one treatment. Now, he had followed me into the holistic path and he done shaman, like a 12-week online shaman course, and he done like breath work as well. So he offered her to come to my home for one-to-one treatment. And she declined because she felt uneasy.
Yeah.
He then invited her to one of his breathwork classes that he done out, you know, if she didn't want to be on one-to-one with him. out to these breathwork classes that he held in different businesses. She declined that again, but he still progressed the conversation to some, and she was like, she said that she felt really grubby from the messages that he was sending. So she blocked and deleted him. She understood he was a single man because he posted nothing about me on his social media.
Right. Oh my God.
But in all, he was very happy to be tagged in mine, but would never
post.
Accept But anyway, she then spotted a photograph of us together at an awards ceremony that I was with him. Mm-hmm. And she at that point realised that this guy was in a relationship. And she debated with herself for weeks as to whether or not she should contact me, because she was frightened of how I would respond.
Yeah.
And whether I would be aggressive or abusive towards her, or whether I would hear her. And I'm so, so grateful to her for having the courage to message me.
Yeah. Wow, Amanda, that's absolutely... And I'm pretty sure he's not, or she wasn't the only one.
No, she was not, because I did post up about how he was a predator, because I believed the way he approached her was very predatory.
Yeah.
And given that he is there, I'm a person who has received women into my space who have been the other end of men like him.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sit quiet on that. But also on that, he is there offering safe places for women. And he is not. He has just demonstrated that he is not a safe person. I believed him to be. I believed him to be safe for me. But when I seen that, I was like, that's not a safe person.
No.
That is not a safe person. And I don't care who he is. That's been demonstrated to me, and I need to speak on this. So I did. I took to my social media and I posted about it. And the number of other women that come out to tell me they had done similar. Other women who had spotted that he was in a relationship because they had found my page, because they went investigating, confronted him on the fact that he was in a relationship, and he told them that I was abusing him. Told them that I was financially abusing him, emotionally abusing him, spiritually abusing him, and mentally abusing him.
Holy shit.
I then received screenshots from 2 years prior, during the time that I was doing all the publicity for my book, during the time I was writing my book, all the publicity for my book. He's telling people, I'm out there, anti-abuse.
Yeah.
I have myself registered as a safe space, my business registered as a safe space, and he's out there telling women that I'm abusing him. Now, up until 6 months before he left the house, he didn't contribute to the house financially. And he created this idea that I was this absolute monster to this one woman in particular who offered him to come and stay at her house to get him out of this situation.
Oh my God.
And he said to her, I can't, because of the way she is with her son. I had read this in black and white from text messages, from screenshots, from the things that he had said. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? What did he mean by that? And she had said he was telling me that you triggered his childhood wounds because of the way you were with your son. Now, he told me that he was very severely physically abused in his home. So he was implying that I was physically abusing my son. And that is why he couldn't leave. And it was in that moment that I realised that I was dealing with someone who had severe narcissistic tendencies. That placing himself as both the hero and the victim in one sentence. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And it was after that then that I learned what covert narcissism was.
Yes.
And up to that point, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And there I was, believing now that I was also targeted because of my vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And he used my trauma and my trauma responses to manipulate me. And I can see it all so clearly now.
I know.
And I know the whole way along, I can say my gut was telling me something the whole way through. And I ignored that gut.
I have been there and I have ignored that gut too. I talked a wee bit on Sunday. Amanda was at an event I was hosting on Sunday, and I talked a wee bit about this and about gut instincts and hearing things. And yeah, that is so scary and it's horrible. I've actually recently, I think in the last couple of months, heard of another man doing the same. And that is horrible because there's vulnerable women are going to these healing spaces and they're doing modalities and they're, you know what I mean, they're wanting to heal and they're being targeted. Mm-hmm. It's madness. It's absolutely madness that someone would do that. How did he respond when you came forward with all this?
When I confronted him after I put the phone down, I came in and I confronted him, and he completely denied. I gave the name, and no, I don't know who you're talking about. And I was like, right, well then, she looks like this, and this is where she's from. Don't know what you're talking about. And then I went through the conversation that they had together in terms of how he approached her. Mm-hmm. And he still looked at me with a confused look in his face, and I just went, look, the photograph she sent her. Now, she had deleted everything. So she had unblocked him before she even realised I existed as his partner. And I asked her, did she have any evidence? Because I was like, I'm going to need evidence for this because I know he's going to gaslight me.
Yeah.
And she didn't. So I was like, just tell me, what were the photographs like? What was he sending you in those photographs? And it is obviously of what you think. But I was like, where was he when he was sending these photographs? From the bath. From the bath. So anyway, I then described, I was like, the photographs that you sent her from the bath. And my son was in the room, so I didn't go into any great detail about what that was. And he still looked at me like I had, it was like I was talking to him in a different language. He was still so confused looking. And I went, are you still going to deny this? And he just dropped his shoulders and went, no. And I went, why? Why did you do it? And he goes, because we were disengaged. And I went, no. You were disengaged, and now I understand why.
Yeah, because he was running about trying to target vulnerable women with shite.
Yeah.
What an absolute bastard. And also knowing your backstory and knowing about you writing this book. I know from my own experience, it's not an easy task. And I mean, I only wrote one chapter. You've wrote a whole book.
He's got a mention in the book as well, in the back of the book, because I believed that he was a good, safe person. Yeah. I believed that I had found somebody that was good to me and my son.
No wonder your son calls him Voldemort.
Yeah, he just will not mention his name now. And that has been challenging itself. Now, coming to the end of that relationship, I had a choice. My go-to would have been just to shut down and internalise and blame myself, and I deserve it. But this time I chose to stay with an open heart and hold myself within that level of compassion that I would show anybody else. Yeah. It was hard. It was really, really hard to go that way with it. But the healing that I have had in the past 4 months, in comparison to the past 15 years. Yeah. Like, it feels like it's just been an exponential growth. Yeah. It's been insane how much I feel I have grown in that time. And I know I was trying my best with my son to show him healthy emotions, showing healthy emotions, that it was okay to show emotions, but also teaching him resilience. Yeah. And to teach him that and support him through his own heartache while also processing my own was really, really challenging. Yeah. And he says to me one day, he goes, Mummy, I don't want to talk to you about this anymore because it breaks me seeing you cry. Aww. Now, I'm an ugly crier, so I can fully understand why that was so difficult for him. But I heard him, and I then got him counselling to help him through, because I was like, okay, maybe I'm not the best person to be trying to support you through this. Maybe you need somebody else. Yeah. So got him counselling, got myself into counselling, and he said to me one time, it was about 3 weeks in. 3 weeks in was not a long time. And he had slept in bed beside me every night since, because I think he was frightened that I was going to leave as well.
Oh.
But he slept in beside me. And it was about 3 weeks in, and he goes to me, Mummy, the house feels so much lighter with Voldemort not here. And I had said, well, what do you mean by that? And he says, well, it just feels like you have been let out of a cage. And I was like, out of the mouths of babes.
Oh.
Do you know, there was my 7-year-old
Yeah.
recognizing the difference in me in 3 weeks.
Wow.
You know, in comparison to what I was like
What you
before
were
that
living.
relationship.
Wow.
And as I say, while I was in that relationship, I never thought it was him.
Yeah.
Like, he never even so much as raised his voice to me.
It's, and I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, allegedly about the childhood trauma. I can sort of understand why you would say that, why you would question that even, because why would you be predatoring vulnerable women? And because that is what he's doing. I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, right up until the point where you said about hiding the phone, there was a lot of things that you said is similar to an ex of mine. The financial abuse, just the behaviour, and even for months after that relationship, I didn't think that he was. But when you're faced with, like, when you realise, you wake up and the money's gone, they're gone, and everything else, and you're like, how did that happen? How did I allow that to happen?
Yeah.
But it was because I wasn't aware of the different levels of narcissism. I don't know if you've read the book Dear Narcissist, Fuck You.
I haven't, no.
No, I must lend it to you. But there are a lot of levels of narcissism, and unfortunately, because of what you went through as a child, you will attract them. And the same as myself, there are things that they're attracted to light as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're majorly attracted to light. Wow, that is, it's horrible, because as I said earlier, vulnerable women are trying to heal, and there is people in these spaces, and bringing them into the spaces. So I hope to fuck that he is not working anymore in this space, in the wellness space. So that it's just, yeah. So you are so brave and amazing for speaking out about this on your social media and on here as well. And I know that what you've shared of your childhood trauma as well is not an easy task. But coming forward and speaking about it out loud hopefully helps other women not to be targeted by these people, because we don't want to put people off from healing, because people do need to heal. And as you probably know yourself, and what the things that was talked about at the event, medication's not really, it works for some people, but it's not really a place to stay. So it's not. And the likes of healing modalities, different things to support the nervous system and to regulate the nervous system is what women need that have been in these vulnerable states. So you are amazing. You really, really are. You are. Amanda's book came out last year.
Yeah, February last year.
And it's called No Peace Until He's Dead. And I would encourage you to buy it, definitely. But yeah, you said earlier that I take it you wrote this after your stepdad died.
After he died, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is that when you found peace to sort of move on?
I guess, yeah. You know, there was peace to move on, because you weren't watching over your shoulder or worrying about where he would pop up. There was always that fear because of how violent he was.
Yeah.
You know, he was insidious. But yeah, once he died, it did bring me peace.
Yeah.
You know, and it hasn't been an easy journey either,
Yeah.
you know, because whenever he did die, I was obviously very aware that that was my sister's real dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, whenever the news broke, I wanted to make sure that I honoured their feelings and that they didn't want to suppress out of fear of offending me, of feeling like as much as he had abused them as well. I just wanted them to know that it was okay if they felt sad about
Yeah.
the death of their father, because I know that that primal instinct,
Yes.
can sometimes kick in, and it can be quite confusing when you're in a situation like that. So I just wanted them to know that, it was fine if they were upset. That was the point that I went public about what had happened, because he was being hailed this hero, and I was like, hang on a wee second, it was just about 6 years ago that he was, in jail.
Yeah. For what he had done.
For what he did, and you can't just forget.
Yeah.
You can't just pretend that this didn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's when I spoke publicly, and my sisters then followed suit and shared their stories publicly as well.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. I have to say, it has been a roller coaster. There has been a lot of healing has gone on since 2021, and particularly this past. And when you talk about medication, I'm very much about. I personally, as I wouldn't tell anybody or discourage anybody from medication, but I certainly, for me, feel that I need to feel to heal.
I agree.
And I had to sit, and as hard as that was, I had to sit with that pain, and I had to face the pain. And particularly, maybe all of that has got me to a point that with this recent heartache, that I was able to pick it up and hold it and look at it.
Yeah.
And rather than going to that place of self-blame and I deserved this, I did look at myself and go, what parts of me were unhealed that allowed that in? And I was able to then sit with myself and begin to heal those parts of me. And I know now I can say very, very confidently that I will never have anybody like that in my life again.
Yeah.
And I will never, never not listen to my gut again.
I know. I know, I'm laughing because I have done the same in incidents where I should have listened to my gut and I didn't. And I love that you're talking about sitting with those parts of you that aren't healed. And what I think Amanda's trying to say is the younger versions of you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I've done a lot of parts work and tapped into those younger parts as well, so I can understand that, because there's more than one part of ourselves, as you know, and there's a controlling part, and sometimes the controlling part isn't the healthiest, because it can be born out of younger situations and it's controlling the adult part. But yeah, you're so brave for speaking out about all this, Amanda. Honestly, I really think it is.
I don't know, I'm at that place of, people have told me that I have that big sister energy, and that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
It's about protecting as many women as I can. If I can share my story and it brings some kind of insight to another woman who can then make a better decision for herself based on what she has heard about me, then great.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. We're not, there is that whole situation, I have to say, healed a massive sister wound in me.
Yeah.
It's much about, I have my 4 sisters and we're all very close, but I mean in terms of
collectively.
Yeah. That healed such a wound in me with these women that were coming forward, and I have now got friends. I have made friends with some of the women that he targeted.
Yeah.
Some of the women that he was engaging with, I now have friendships with those, and that there's such a sisterhood in that whole experience, and I'm so thankful for it as well. Thankful for those women who felt courageous enough to actually tell me the truth.
Yeah, I know, because it's not easy sitting on that side either. So it's not. It's really not. And as I said earlier, I really hope the fuck he is not still working in this space, because he doesn't deserve to be.
No.
So he doesn't. But what is next for you?
Maybe another book on this.
I love that. I know, because I've actually thought about writing another book myself. Mine's was like a co-author one, so there's other ones in it, and I have thought about it. But I know I don't I don't know how it felt for you. Well, you in private, we talked about different layers of fear, and I think we kind of briefly spoke about a year ago when your book came out, and even like the short conversation that we've had since then. I know that you've changed because I can tell even by the messages that you're saying and the way you're sitting here speaking now, because you weren't ready to come on here and say all this then.
No, at that time I was on various podcasts and stuff and felt so out of my comfort zone. Like I'm still out of my comfort zone, but I've started to recognize, and I said that this past 4 months has been such an eye-opening experience for me. Like this situation has taken me from being still fairly unhealed to being enlightened.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I don't mean that saying that I'm sitting here as some kind of guru and I know everything. I know I've still so much more healing to do. Like even on the way in here this morning, I was recognizing that it's not so much about, I used to think that it was about being seen. And it's not so much about being seen because I'm on social media and I've got my platforms there and I'm fine. It's that little child that was told to be quiet all the time.
Yeah.
It's not feeling that what I have to say isn't worthy of being heard.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I need to heal. So I have been working on that. And yes, whenever the book came out, I was still very much sitting in the who wants to hear me? Who wants to listen to my story? Or I'm now moving through this with affirmations of my message is important. And there are people who need to and want to hear this message. There are people who don't want to hear it. And there are people who won't relate to it. And I am so glad for them and happy for them that they don't understand and can't relate.
Yes.
But there are people who can. There's a lot of people who can and a lot of people who will. And the big sister energy is what pushes me forward and drives me forward to share that message so that I can help those other people.
Yeah, I love that. I do. I really love that. And you are, is it survivors for?
The Northern Ireland Survivors Council, yeah. So myself and another 3 women who have all experienced childhood sexual violence. There's Hayley Lamont and Nicola Holmes and Michelle Duffy and myself make up the Northern Ireland Survivors Council. Now this has been backed by the Global Brave movement. We were all members of them. Like Michelle and Hayley initially had joined and they then brought me on board to join with them. So we are now trying to establish Be Brave Northern Ireland. So we need an army of people.
Yeah.
So it's just gone through the Brave Global website and joining them, and the more voices that we have behind us, then the better it is. But they're supporting the creation of this Survivors Council, and the purpose of the Survivors Council is so that we can be there at the point that decisions are being made. We are there whenever policies are being shaped. We're not added on as an afterthought, you know, and it's not tokenistic stories that are being told, and it's not 4 women that are sitting around a table sharing how bad their life was. It's women who have gone, right, we've experienced this really bad thing, and here's how we think it can be better for other people.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, so far what we have witnessed in some of these things is by people sharing their stories. It's people telling, you know, telling people what their stories or what happened to them, and that's not what it's about.
No.
We want to be there to go. For me personally, I'm feel very strongly about education, very strongly about educating our children in and around safe relationships. And I know that if I had been educated around that, I know as well that if my teachers had been educated around that and had been there and had an awareness, that I would have disclosed when I was in school. I used to go in and sit in my headmaster's desk every morning, swinging my legs, talking to him, talking at him, really. And I would have loved nothing more for him to say, what's happening at home?
Yeah.
Do you know, and this is not me putting blame on him. It's a system. It's the system that fails us.
Yes.
There are things that go well, and there are certain services out there that are doing really well. And it's not that we want to take away from any of those. We want to just make things better.
Yeah.
And we believe that victims' voices need to be round the tables where decisions are being made. And that means we need to be in Stormont.
I agree. I don't know. I had Julianne Boyle on as well. I don't know if you've watched hers. I'll put you in contact with her as well, because she's been to Parliament before, also to get certain policies changed due to certain words, to get them pulled out of the dictionary and stuff. So yeah, what you're doing is absolutely amazing, and everybody needs to be heard. It doesn't have to be publicly. And as you're saying this, so if people were to come to you, does this have to, is it public? You know what I mean? If they come to you with their voice, does it become public, or?
No, it doesn't. No, and it certainly wouldn't. And we're not at the point yet of gathering in people's experiences.
Yeah.
You know, we're not at that. The council has just been established, and we're trying to move through for government funding for that.
Okay.
It has been supported in other countries, Germany, Canada, France, and just recently Wales and England have also agreed. Their governments have agreed to support them and fund their council as well.
Okay.
So Scotland and Northern Ireland are currently a wee bit behind the rest of the UK, but that's what we're trying to move forward into. So once we are established, that it will be at that point then that we will be seeking, and it would be done anonymously.
Yeah.
Do you know, we wouldn't be out there going, you know, your woman Michaela.
Yeah.
She told me that, you know, her brother did whatever.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's not about revealing people. You know, anybody who still hasn't told their story and doesn't want to tell their story, you know, publicly or to anybody else, they can still have a voice.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's not about standing, like, you know, the four of us have stood quite publicly.
Yeah.
And it's not about outing anybody either. Because I know what it was like whenever that first initial court case was won, I wasn't ready to speak.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to tell anybody. Do you know, and it wasn't until afterwards that I started to find the courage to come forward.
Yeah.
So it's not about trying to force anybody to tell their truth, or speak their truth, or stand in their truth, whatever. It's just letting people know that even if you don't want to speak publicly, even if you don't want to say it to anybody else, your voice still matters.
Your voice matters, yes. And you can tell your lived experience. Yeah, that is amazing. What you're doing is absolutely amazing. And it's, with the statistics, it's what this country needs.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is. So going forward, another book.
maybe we'll see. I have joked about it. I don't know whether he'd be worth a book or not. Do you know? But there's probably there could be something in writing the story of what happened after all of this, and do you know, talking about the relationships and more into the healing side of things. You know, and how I have found my way through healing. Like the other end of this, the stuff that happened in March, the other end of that, like I really thrown myself into breathwork and EFT tapping and meditation and, you know, visualizations, journaling. I used to hate journaling, but I have journaled the life out of this situation, you know, and so many reflection prompts as well. And I've created a wee 28-day plan as well for people who want to follow it, that might help them, you know, through something similar. So that has been my blueprint for survival and healing through, you know, the aftermath of this. So maybe there'll be something more in that whole...
In that, lifting the lid on that and writing about it. Yeah, because it is healing in itself, writing about it. And especially, I know when I wrote my chapter, it sort of took me to a dark place. But once I get over that, then that level of fear kind of dropped off. And then I did more healing around that. So I can understand that. So... That's amazing. That's amazing. It really is. So where can my viewers find you?
They can find me on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. I also have a website, so that's amandabrownholistics.co.uk. So you can find me on there, and there's all sorts of information on my website about me and the book, and, you know, what services I offer as well.
Brilliant, Amanda. Brilliant, and very brave for coming on and sharing all that. So amazing.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been lovely having you. Wow, what a story.
Yeah, that's it.
I knew about the breakup, but I didn't really know that that's what was sort of behind it. Wow.
Yeah. It was, do you know what, the going back the 2 years prior and knowing that he was telling people lies and creating this idea that I wasn't what I was publicly as well. Like he was trying to create this idea that maybe I was a narcissist. I don't know.
Probably.
But I was just like, my mind was blown. And I wasn't even that bothered about all the lies he told about me or what he's done on me. But you see, whenever I seen in black and white what he said about my son, I was just like, no.
No, I know. That's
And-
for... He didn't give a fuck about you to say that.
No, he
didn't.
It's quite. I don't care that he didn't care about me. That doesn't bother me. But
It was
it's what he did to my son.
Yeah.
It is what he has done to my son.
Yeah.
And I'm sure any parent would think the same.
100%. I have a teenage son, and honestly, it's... And plus, as you know yourself, the age of 7 is a vulnerable age, because it's when the subconscious mind kind of drops off and your conscious mind comes on more online as well.
Yeah.
And that it will be traumatic for him. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, I know. And hopefully with the counselling and
Yeah.
him seeing me heal, I'm hoping that will set him in good stead for life.
Yes, it will, because you're showing him that it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to speak your truth, and it's okay to go to counselling. It's nothing bad, you know.
Yeah.
So that as a mum is amazing. So it is, and you should be really proud of yourself for doing that.
Thanks.
So you should. You really
I'm
should.
so proud of him. He's such a good kid. So he is, and he's handled it in his own wee way, and he's doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. I would really love to find out what happens next about this counselling. So maybe in the future, maybe have a few of yous.
Yeah.
If you would like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it would be really good. And
Yeah.
to find out what goes next, what happens next for Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
I love that. Really love what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Right now we are rallying the various MLAs, and we've been in so many meetings. We've met that this has been ongoing for years. Do you know, we have been working tirelessly on this behind the scenes for years, meeting with various MLAs and Victims Commissioner as well. She has been very good and very supportive.
Good.
And yeah, there's still so many meetings that we still need to have, and we need to get other people on board and get this pushed through so that we can start making a change.
Yeah.
We need to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it needs, fortunately, not be able to stop this kind of thing. But the more voices that are heard, or the more statistics come to light, the more people are going to be...
They have the statistics. Do you know, this is the thing. They know the statistics. They have the statistics. They see what's happening. They see where people are being failed. Do you know, they know where services are under-resourced and underfunded. Do you know, they know all of this, but it's not about looking at where we're at and going, yeah, we're aware. We know that this is all happening. It's about making change. It's about doing something different.
Yeah.
Do you know, if you're going to continue to do the same thing, the same way, you can't expect a different result. So we're coming in with our lived experience to sit down and go, right, we're not here to sit round a table crying. We are not 4 weeping women that want to share our tales of woe. We're here as 4 strong, healed women that want to stand here and tell you, guide you on how you can make a difference for the other people that are coming behind us. To remove the number of children that are, or to greatly reduce the number of children that are currently being abused in their own homes right now.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That is just statistics. Unfortunately, it's just numbers in front of them, not lived experiences, not voices, not even voices of animosity. Do you know what I mean? So it's, so go use.
Yes, we'll all be back on.
Brilliant.
The 4 of us will
Brilliant.
come on.
It's been lovely having you, Amanda, really. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you're a very brave woman. Power to you.
Yeah.
I'm proud to have you sitting here.
Thank you.